Hello, friends. Welcome to Past Unboxed. You didn't find this by accident. Something in you is seeking more clarity, more calm, maybe more strength. And today we're going to go looking for it. Not in modern tools, but in the forgotten teachings of ancient people. So sit back. This is your time. You're not here to perform, to be judged, or to rush. You're here to return to yourself. Let's begin. A long time ago, before the rise of cities, before electricity and clocks, there was only the quiet breath of early humanity. Wrapped in animal skins under endless stars, our ancestors asked the same questions we ask today. What is my purpose? Where can I find peace? This is not a book about history. It's about something deeper. It's about continuity, the thread of wisdom that connects ancient minds to the modern heart. Their world was simpler, but their understanding of life, of self, of the mind was profound. They had no screens, no therapy, no science of psychology, yet they knew the power of stillness, the need for clarity, and the strength that comes from inner balance. Mindset, today it's a buzzword, but back then it was survival. It was the compass that guided them through storms, hunger, loneliness, and fear. And now, as we stand in a different kind of storm, a storm of distraction, noise, speed, and pressure, we look back, not out of nostalgia, but out of need. We search for that pure, enduring strength they once knew. Imagine standing in a desert. No roads, no buildings, just wind and sky. That's how the ancient ones saw the world. Vast, mysterious, alive. In that silence, they turned inward. The people of Mesopotamia, India, Egypt, Persia, China, and Greece believed that the key to life was mastering the self. Not the world, the self. In India, sages meditated on breath beneath trees older than memory. In Egypt, priests taught balance through the principle of Ma'at, the harmony of all things. In Persia, the teachings of Zoroaster encouraged good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. In Greece, philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus taught that while we can't control events, we can always control how we respond. Their mindset was forged not in comfort, but in challenge. They believed that calm was not the absence of chaos. It was the presence of mastery. They were not perfect, but they were wise. And from them, we can still learn. We often imagine that ancient people lived easier mental lives, but they faced fears we can barely understand. Death at every turn, disease, war, isolation. Yet they found ways to face it all, not by hiding from their emotions, but by sitting with them, naming them, learning from them. The Stoics believed suffering was a teacher. The Buddhists taught that suffering comes from attachment, and that freedom comes from letting go. Ancient shamans entered trance states to confront inner demons, not to destroy them, but to understand them. Their strength was not in avoidance. It was in transformation. Every hardship was a doorway to wisdom. Every silence, a signal. Every failure, a lesson. Now take a breath, not a casual one, a conscious one. Inhale slowly. Feel your lungs expand. Hold for a moment. Now exhale. Let your tension go. That breath is not just a breath. It is presence. It is power. It is ancient. Our ancestors believed that breath was life itself. Spirit, awareness. And today, in a world full of noise, returning to the breath is one of the simplest, strongest tools we have. Let me share with you a few ancient practices. They're not complicated. They're not commercial. They're just human. Begin your mornings in silence. No screens, no rules, just you and the world waking up. Move your body with intention. Even a short stretch, a walk in nature, can shift your entire mindset. Write down your thoughts, not to be perfect, but to release them. Look at the sky, day or night. The same sky your ancestors stared into. Let it remind you of your place in something bigger. These aren't tricks. They're invitations to remember, to reconnect. And here's something even more powerful: the ancient relationship with hope. Their hope wasn't blind optimism. It was forged through darkness. It was quiet, but it was strong. They believed that life moves in cycles, that what falls rises, that winter is followed by spring, that after every ending, there is a beginning. Their heroes weren't born strong. They became strong through endurance, through belief, through faith that beyond this moment, something better exists. This isn't just their story. It's yours too. You are part of this lineage, a long, unbroken line of human hearts searching for meaning, peace, and strength. And now, you're listening because something in you remembers. Maybe it's calm. Maybe it's clarity. Maybe it's a forgotten knowing passed down through your blood. You're not broken. You are ancient and wise and ready. You don't have to build the mindset you seek. You have to uncover it. It's already within you. Breathe. Walk slow. Trust your bones. You're carrying more wisdom than you know. This is the beginning. The noise today is constant. Messages, notifications, breaking news, opinions. The mind never rests. Even in silence, we are rarely still. We scroll, we search, we escape. But what are we running from? What are we afraid to hear when all is quiet? Our ancestors had no choice but to live with silence. And through that silence, they discovered something incredible. The mind does not need to be full to be strong. It needs to be clear. In ancient Japan, Zen monks would sit in stillness for hours, facing blank walls, not to escape the world, but to see it clearly. In the Himalayas, Tibetan monks listened to wind and water, believing nature itself was the voice of wisdom. In the deserts of Persia, mystics walked for days with no words, only the rhythm of their breath and footsteps. Why? Because they understood a simple truth. Stillness is not weakness. Stillness is power. You don't have to retreat to a mountain to find this power. You only have to pause. Right now, pause. Breathe. Feel what rises in that space between thoughts. That's where the real work begins. In today's world, it is an act of rebellion to be calm. It is revolutionary to listen, not to others, but to yourself. The ancient calm is not a mood. It's a mindset, a decision, a returning. It's the choice to say, I will not be swept away, because chaos will always exist. Fear will always knock. But how you answer, that is mindset. There's an old proverb: the water does not resist the storm. It flows around it. Your mind can be like that. Not hardened, not blocked, but flexible, steady, aware. When you train your mind to return to stillness, even in the middle of stress, you gain something more valuable than control. You gain clarity, and with clarity comes peace. Imagine your mind as a bowl of water. When shaken, it's cloudy. But if you set it down and let it be, the particles settle. The water becomes clear. Your thoughts, too, can settle if you allow them. Let go of the pressure to fix everything right now. Let go of the guilt of not being productive every second. You are not born for noise. You were born for awareness. And that awareness, it's already in you. Just as your ancestors found it in the flicker of firelight, the sound of birds at dawn, the hush before sleep, you can find it now in this very breath. Let's try something. Close your eyes. Place a hand on your chest. Ask yourself, what am I carrying that is not mine? What am I forcing that does not need to be forced? Now let it go, even for a moment. This is the practice, and practice is all it takes. The ancient calm is not about perfection. It's about returning again and again to presence. And in presence, there is power. You do not need more apps, more information, more stimulation. You need more stillness. Stillness to hear your own wisdom. Stillness to soften your body. Stillness to feel the quiet strength rising inside you. It may feel unfamiliar at first, like learning a forgotten language, but it is your native tongue, the language of your body. the rhythm of your soul. And the more you speak it, the stronger it gets. With time, stillness becomes your default. Calm becomes your home. You begin to walk slower. You begin to breathe deeper. You begin to respond instead of react. And the world, even a noisy one, feels different because you are different. You've remembered something the modern world wants you to forget, that you are enough. That peace is not something you earn. It's something you choose right now. So let this be your reminder, your invitation, your ancient inheritance. You are allowed to be calm. You are allowed to be slow. You are allowed to feel peace, even if the world is racing. You are allowed to rest. And in that rest, you will remember, you're not separate from the ancient ones. You are one of them, a quiet flame, a steady breath, a living echo of every calm mind that came before. This is not the end. It is the beginning of your return. We often think strength comes from intensity, pushing harder, doing more, being louder. But ancient people knew a secret. Real strength comes from rhythm, from consistency, from ritual. In their world, rituals were not ceremonies for others to see. They were sacred habits that shaped the mind and soul, daily acts that grounded them when life was uncertain. Every morning, before the first light, they woke to greet the sun, not with urgency, but with reverence. They bowed to the earth. They lit lamps. They whispered prayers, not out of fear, but out of alignment. The ancient ones understood something we often forget. When life is chaotic, ritual gives it shape. When emotions overwhelm, ritual gives them a container. Ritual isn't about control. It's about connection to the moment, to the body, to something larger than the self. Let's pause. Ask yourself, what are my daily rituals? Not habits, not routines, rituals. Moments where you slow down, breathe, and return to yourself. Maybe it's the way you make your tea, the walk you take at sunset, the quiet you keep before bed. These moments matter. They're the architecture of your inner life. In ancient Greece, philosophers took walks not just to move, but to think clearly. In India, yogis began each day with intentional breath. In Africa, stories were told by firelight, stories that taught courage, patience, and truth. In every culture, ritual was medicine. Modern life tells us to rush, to optimize, to multitask. But when everything is urgent, nothing is sacred. Ritual makes life sacred again. And when you feel lost, when your mind is scattered, return to ritual, return to rhythm. A single mindful act, done every day, is more powerful than 100 random efforts. Even lighting a candle with intention can become a doorway back to peace. Let's try one now. Imagine yourself at the start of a new day. The sky is still blue-gray. The world hasn't begun to shout. You sit, not to do anything, just to be. You place your hand on your chest. You say quietly, I am here. I am alive. I am part of something timeless. You light a candle. You breathe 3 times. You listen. That's all. And in that small act, you anchor your entire being. That is resilience. Not force, but presence. You don't have to be rigid. Ritual is not restriction. It's rhythm. And rhythm is the heartbeat of mindset. In ancient times, rituals marked everything. Birth, death, seasons, dreams, fears. They gave life shape, meaning, continuity, and they can do the same for you. Try this. Begin your day with one breath of gratitude. Set a word for the day. Calm, strong, aware, kind. End your day with stillness. Just a few minutes with no sound, no screen, only presence. This is not about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you are underneath the noise. Your ancestors had no therapy, no internet, no books, but they had ritual, and it saved them over and over again. Let it save you too, because there is power in repetition. And the more you return to yourself, the stronger you become. There is no magic moment when peace arrives. It grows quietly, in the rituals you keep. And when challenges come, as they always do, you'll already have a place inside that's steady, rooted, prepared. A calm that was built, not bought. A mindset that was chosen, not copied. This is ancient strength. This is who you are. And in the next chapter, we'll go even deeper into the inner dialogue. The silent voice that shapes your life far more than the outside world ever could. Because your greatest battles aren't out there, they're in here. And your greatest peace, it begins when that inner voice remembers its own power. There's a voice inside you. It speaks long before the world does. It whispers in the quiet moments. It answers when no one else can hear. It questions when you're alone. That voice, your inner voice, is not just commentary. It is your compass. The ancient ones knew this. Long before mirrors, microphones, and modern psychology, they listened to the voice within. In the caves of early humanity, stories weren't just told, they were felt. And those stories lived first inside the heart, in that space where intuition becomes language. Today, we often ignore that voice. Or worse, we let it be shaped by others. You scroll past perfection. You compare. You internalize doubt. And the voice inside starts saying things that aren't even yours. I'm not enough. I'm behind. I need to be better. But none of that is true. Your inner voice isn't meant to echo fear. It's meant to carry wisdom. The wisdom of every version of you, past, present, and potential. In ancient traditions, people were taught to train the voice inside. Not silence it, not suppress it, but teach it to speak truth. Buddhist monks used mantras, sacred words repeated again and again, not to convince, but to remember. Stoics practiced internal dialogue, reminding themselves of values, purpose, and strength in times of stress. Sufis turned poetry into prayer, letting their soul's voice rise above the world's noise. You can do the same. You already talk to yourself. The question is, how? Take a breath. Listen. What's the tone of your thoughts? Are they kind? Are they grounded? Are they yours? Or are they echoes of someone else's fear? Now say this, out loud or in your heart. I choose a new voice, a true voice, my own. That choice, repeated, reshapes the mind. It doesn't mean pretending everything is okay. It means speaking to yourself the way a wise elder would, the way your ancestors once spoke to the earth, to the fire, to the stars, with patience, with reverence, with honesty. Your inner voice is your first language, and the words you choose matter. If you constantly say, I can't, your body believes it. If you say, I will try, your spirit rises. And when you say, I am here, I am enough, I am learning, the path opens. Language is magic. It builds, it breaks, it heals. That's why the ancients treated words with care. They knew words create worlds. Let's build yours. Here's a practice. Each morning, before you check anything, speak 3 sentences to yourself. Not borrowed affirmations, not forced positivity, but real, intentional truths. Try. I'm doing my best. I allow myself to grow. I do not need to rush. Or choose your own. Say them slowly. Say them with breath. Say them as if your inner voice is waking from sleep. Because it is, and it remembers how to speak strength. Let go of harshness. It never made you stronger. Let go of self-judgment. It never helped you heal. Speak gently to the child inside who tried their best. Speak clearly to the warrior inside who never gave up. Speak lovingly to the soul inside who just wants peace. Your inner voice has waited long enough. It is time to reclaim its power. And once you do, once your thoughts begin to echo your truth, the world around you shifts. Because when the inside is steady, the outside becomes less threatening. When your voice is strong, the noise loses its grip. And when your mind becomes your ally, there is nothing outside that can undo you. This is the path back to you, to the one who was never broken, to the one who always had the answers, just beneath the surface. In the next chapter, we'll explore how this inner voice connects to purpose, not just surviving the day, but living with direction, clarity, and soul. Because once your voice is strong, your vision must follow, and your path becomes not just something you walk, but something you shape. You walked a long way, not in distance, but in depth, through words, breath, silence, memory, back to something timeless inside you. And now, here you are, at the quiet edge of this journey. Not where it ends, but where it changes. You may not feel transformed. You may not feel like some ancient force has awakened in you. That's okay. Transformation doesn't always arrive with lightning. Sometimes it begins with softness, with a thought that lands quietly in your chest and stays, with a breath that feels slightly more real than the one before it, with a pause, not forced but chosen. That pause is sacred. It is the space where the noise of the world fades and the music of your mind returns. And in that space, you are no longer performing, comparing, proving. You are simply being. This is what your ancestors knew. They knew that silence is not empty. That presence is not passive. That rest is not weakness. These were their truths, and now they are yours to carry forward. You've listened to old wisdom, not with your ears, but with your awareness. You've remembered how to sit in stillness without fear. You've spoken to your inner voice not with judgment, but with respect. You've stepped out of the fast current of the modern world, even for just a while, and tasted something ancient, a flavor of existence that can't be mass-produced. You've remembered what it means to feel enough. And now, the question arises, what will you do with this remembering? Because this wisdom doesn't want to be locked in your mind like a lesson. It wants to move through you in the way you walk, speak, rest, forgive. It wants to be seen in the way you make tea, the way you treat strangers, the way you carry yourself through stress and joy. Ancient mindset is not a concept. It's a current, and now you're part of it. You're living in a world that pushes for urgency, distraction, and control. But you don't have to play by its rules. You can walk slower, breathe deeper, choose differently. You can become a quiet example, not by preaching, but by embodying. When others feel overwhelmed, they'll notice your calm. When others panic, they'll notice your steadiness. Not because you're pretending to be strong, but because you've built something inside that no one can take from you. That's the true power of this journey. Not to escape life, but to return to it. To live with a mind that is rooted, a heart that is open, a body that is aware. Your strength is not in what you achieve. It's in how you stay connected to what matters, even as the world spins. And no matter where you go next, work, family, silence, conflict, you'll carry this mindset with you because you've earned it, not through struggle, but through listening, not through ambition, but through stillness. And this isn't the end. It's the moment before the next beginning. It's the final breath of one chapter and the first breath of what comes after, a life shaped not by pressure, but by presence. So pause. Let this sink in. You've remembered something most people forget, and that alone is extraordinary. I truly hope this section has helped you feel more inspired and at ease. Thank you for taking this journey with us. If this experience brought you peace, insight, or simply space to breathe, we invite you to carry it forward. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that they are not alone. Subscribe to Past Unboxed, where ancient wisdom finds its voice and where timeless audiobooks like this continue to grow. New chapters, new journeys, same depth. Like, share, reflect, and when you're ready, come back. There's always more waiting beneath the surface. Because your story, like your mind, was never meant to end. It was meant to endure. Thank you for being here.